So I'm not here to give you the good news, right? I'm not here to give you solutions. I'm not here to create optimism. This is a reality check, and in the 3 years that we've operated as a foundation, we have learned a few things. We have many more questions than answers, and I'm just trying to share that with you. To start with, this is where we are today. This report is from, I think, a month and a half ago, in 2023. 6 of the planetary boundaries that scientists actually chase have been breached this year. And as you can see on the graph, by a fair margin. The climate crisis, the biodiversity collapse, the planetary crisis, it's not just about carbon. It's not just about the temperature. It's not going to get solved merely because we make a mobility transition, we make an energy transition, or we make one change or the other. Right? This is 12,000 years of human history. This is 600 years of corporate history, right? Ever since the first Dutch VOC took shape. There is a certain pattern to civilization. There are, I don't know, 500 trillion bad trade-offs that we've made over the last few centuries, and definitely over the last few decades, that have gotten us here. Just think back of the time you woke up this morning and to now, and think of all the trade-offs you made, biased towards comfort, convenience, time, but laden against the ecosystem. So, as you can see from these graphs, I mean, we've been progressively getting it wrong. Depending on who you ask and what you believe, that goes back either to the 70s when we first knew about climate change, or hundreds of years ago, where some of these things were already prophesized in small ways and big. So, I mean, while we focus on climate change, we realize that we need to ask the questions about where are we using this energy? Where are we using this transport? Right? To give you a very small example, cod that's caught off the coast of Norway travels all the way to China for cleaning and filleting, and gets sent back to Norway for consumption. Right? Do you really want to e-power that? Do you really want renewables to solve that level of inefficiency on the planet? Right? So it's in the novel entities. That's 350,000 different materials that we continuously release into the biosphere. Right? It's in the shoes I'm wearing, it's in the clothes I'm wearing, it's in the car seat, it's in this, all over this place that we're sitting in and listening to all the amazing solutions right now. Right? We're not going to lick this problem by focusing on one dimension of it. Right? The real world has always been complex. All of these problems are deeply interconnected. And I think the biggest mistake we've made is not to acknowledge with the complexity, not to work with the complexity, and dumb it down to a silver bullet or two here and there. So as we started to go around the country and we started to talk to a lot of people working out there, we realized that it's not a problem of research, it's not a problem of numbers, of framing it in terms of GHGs or emissions alone. These are lived experiences. This is the story of the planet. This is the story of my village, this is the story of my city, my town, my ward, my place. Right? We're not going to magically solve it for the planet if we don't account for our places. So what have we done to our places? What is the story of our places? We were in Uttarakhand speaking to a small NGO there, and he actually posed this question that got us thinking about this. He says, yeah, you'll start another project, we'll submit yet another report, we'll all declare success, and this has been going on for decades together. But jagah ka kya hoga? What happens to the place at the end of it? Have the places been getting better? And we have ample proof that it's not been getting better. Right? Not at the village, not in the city, not anywhere. So what's going wrong really, right? So like somebody said, you're not really saving the planet. You're trying to save an ecological niche that we exist in, the livability of our places, right? And for any place to be livable, all of these pillars kind of sort of need to be in balance. This is not a peer-reviewed study. This is something we came up with as we spoke to a lot of people. So for too long, we focused on the market forces, the market side of things, we focused on creating solutions for society, the human services we provide, all the welfare bits we do. But we have continuously dipped into the ecological bank to do this. We have continuously made trade-offs that actually hurt the economy in ways known and unknown. Sometimes it's the second order, sometimes it's way deeper than that, it's invisible to us. But we essentially do not pause and consider what's happening to my place because of this. As I chase income for farmers, am I depleting the water table too much? What happens if the water table falls below a certain threshold? And that's happened to most of India already, right? So the last bit is very important because the stories we tell each other, right? And Amitav Ghosh makes a very good case for this. The stories I grew up with were about greed is good, right? Shareholder value is everything, right? The forest and the mountain and the river disappeared from our stories. And if our stories don't talk about the ecology, our stories talk about the suffering of people, the supremacy of the market, right? Those were the stories that we actually moved towards. And unless we fix the stories, unless we account for the ecology, we are not going to fix our places. And unless 6.5 lakh villages in India and 200 countries across the world fix it for their places, we are not going to magically get a better planet, right? That's an absurd notion. So obviously, we know what our urban spaces look like. We've seen slide after slide describing that in great detail. Essentially, we are making bad trade-offs, biased towards one number, you know which one that is, and against every other number. Right? We are okay with kids in Delhi living 17 years lesser. We are okay with the air quality that we have today. We are okay with, even Auckland has 5,000 measurable pieces of microplastic falling on a square meter every single day. Right? It's much higher in many other parts of the country. So we're not accounting for these trade-offs. It's true in rural India. Rural India is catching up very rapidly on this. It's on the same trajectory. What you're seeing in this picture are mulch sheets. As we grow our vegetables, as we grow our produce, we need to keep the moisture in the soil. And earlier mulching was a lot of organic matter, but now there's industrial plastic sheets. This is one of the fastest growing market segments for agri-inputs in the country, in China, in large parts of the world actually. I think there's about 8 to 10,000 crores of this being pumped into our fields. Farmers do understand what happens to it. They either burn it, it goes into the soil. You're clearing out the soil every 3-4 years. All your produce comes from outside, right? You'll suffer an economic loss on it. You suffer a health loss on it. And your biodiversity takes a massive beating. So I think what's happened is we have lost a connect with our land. We have lost a connect with our places. We do not understand our places anymore, and we do not trust our biology. If the answers stop coming from our biology, they will come from extractive mining somewhere, right? And at scale, we can try a gazillion different solutions for this. We heard many, many solutions today. But at the heart of this is our ownership of our places, our understanding of our places. And unless we get there, we are not going to solve this problem. This is a framework, bioregionalism, that attempts to address this, and we are biasing our solutions towards it with our partners. And I end all my public speaking with an apology to anybody who's under 30 years old for the planet we're leaving them. Thank you.